Trunks, I haven't hugged you even once since you were a baby. Let's embrace.
Come on, Dad. You're embarrassing me.
Take care, my son.
Oh.
Still some of my favorite animations in this whole game. We have the newly EZA INT Majin Vegeta ready to go, 90% in the dupe system. I've given him a lot of dodge and I've got him at level 10 links. Not quite rainbowed, but that 10% we're missing won't make that much of a difference. We do have him on the new Saiyan Day LR Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 2 Goku lead. He is starting with a 673k attack stat, 436k defense. We also have a newly pulled for me as well, Hybrid Saiyans Trio, so we can actually trigger his entrance animation for having a Trunks unit on the team or a Majin Buu Saga category enemy, which is one of my main gripes with this unit, which is one of the main issues when he released back in 2022. But what I will say is at least it's a little bit easier to get that entrance animation, to get that damage reduction now, because there are a few more usable Trunkses compared to when he released. Are there loads? No. Are they all amazing? Unfortunately not, but at least there's a few more options. My one qualm with it, and I said this during the video where we went through his details, is the fact that if only they changed it, if only they made it just so much more lenient, because that damage reduction that you miss out on is huge, and you also miss out on stats to go with it. If only they made it a Trunks unit or a Majin Buu Saga category ally, that would have made this unit 10 times better in my opinion. That's not me calling him bad. We're going to find out how good he is here. But that would have made him so much better, because there's just no Majin Buu Saga category enemies in the game really at the moment. So you have to, and you're forcibly reliant on using a Trunks. And if you don't have a Trunks, well, unlucky, basically. So we do need to get Majin Vegeta some orbs, which we can either pick up one or more INT key spheres, or 3 key spheres in general, or 3 or more INT key spheres, or 5 or more orbs. And we can actually get all the INT key spheres we need. Actually, can we? No, we can't. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5. No, we need 3. What am I talking about? Yeah, we're all good. I'm actually going to let him go in slot 1 to see how he does. Because we did get the entrance animation, he does have the 30% damage reduction, which he keeps, and the 50% attack and defense for the character and allies name includes Trunks. So this unit is going to benefit from that. And then also the 70% chance to crit. He is also starting with 250 attack and defense. He is going to launch an additional attack. There's a 50% chance to become a super. And to help him pick up the orbs he needs, he does change strength orbs to INT orbs. So let's see how he tanks a super attack immediately. Because we did get 1 or more INT key spheres obtained, we did have guaranteed guard. Only 96k and a 45.2 mil super to go to boot. We do have a lot of crit chance. I'm expecting a crit right now, which we did indeed get. And an additional, we're up to 48.2, which again, we have a lot of crit chance. I'm expecting another one to go with it, which we did also get. Triple. It's only a normal. Quadruple. 51.3. Could you imagine if we had the third one as well? Are we going to crit again? Oh! I think that's a good showing. He super attacked 3 times as well, which every time he supers, he does greatly raise attack by 50% and raise defense by 30%, which, as you can see there, meant he tanks for double digits. And the other benefit as well that we got going on, he now raises allies' defense by 20% for 1 turn. His self is excluded, but he's also giving out support to Trunks units and everyone else on the rotation of an extra 20% defense. So I think for his first appearance, I think Majin Vegeta absolutely cooked. So, because we did pick up 1 or more INT key sphere, or 3 or more key spheres in general, we did have 150 extra defense, we did have the guaranteed guard to go with our damage reduction, and then an extra 20% damage reduction. So with just 1 or more INT key sphere, or 3 or more just standard orbs, Majin Vegeta does have a total, with the entrance animation, 50% damage reduction, and guard at that point. And that was all pre-super. Then the extra 150 defense. Then with 3 or more ink keys obtained, or just a standard 5 orbs, an extra 10% damage reduction before attacking. So he does have the possibility to go in slot 1, which takes him up to 60% damage reduction with guard. And an additional attack, there's a 70% chance to become a super, and Majin Busaka category allies, 40% attack and defense for 2 turns, which of course the hybrid trio benefited from, the LR Majin Vegeta benefited from, along with the support that he gives to, again, Trunks units anyway, that he'll be dishing out. And then, don't forget, he's also gaining the extra 200% defense when receiving an attack with 12 or more ki to go with the rest of his stats. So Majin Vegeta was very much bulked up there, and I think that definitely showed. Now, let's get you guys some ki, which isn't looking overly healthy, but it will have to do. But I think for the first turn, I think for a first appearance, I think he's done really, really well. As I said, I mean, this is my boy, right? This is my boy. I will back him nonetheless, but I won't go in blindly. I said he looked like a very good EZA. The one thing that got me is why we are so hell-bent on that Trunks condition when it comes to his entrance animation. Which, as I said, I know Trunks units are in a much better spot, but if we just quickly take a look at some of the Trunks units in the game right now, and think about some of these which are actually usable, it is better, but it's still not great. So, you know, we have Sword of Hope Trunks, dead. You have EZA Vegeta and Trunks, which, depending on the content, can be good. Of course, main place you want to call home for them is Festival of Battles, and I don't doubt in there with Majin Vegeta would be excellent because they help the others stack. But if it's short content, it's kind of like, meh. You kind of got to protect them. Unfortunately, 11th anniversary is done. The EZA LRSSBE's boost, gone. Same with the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. Then, I don't know why I included the Vegetas there. I goofed. I think it's because of Vegeta and Trunks. Ignore that. So yeah, we've got Sword of Hope Trunks, we've got Vegeta and Trunks. Ignore the Vegetas, because that's just irrelevant. I don't know what happened there. You kind of don't have any more. Like, you just don't. You just kind of don't really have any more Trunks units, aside from the Super EZA Fizz Trunks, who, at best, is okay. He's solid enough. But depending on the event, depending on the content you're in, he can get absolutely clocked. So unless you've got him like with some dupes and some skill orbs or rainbow, and you've given him a ton of dodge and you're willing to rely on that, or just basically hope for the best, so you can trigger Majin Vegeta's entrance animation, you don't really have any other Trunks units to use, aside from literally the hybrid trio. Which, don't get me wrong, is not a bad thing, but again, you're kind of lacking in options, like a lot. So that's one thing that I find really annoying about it, because say for example you don't have this hybrid trio. Say for example you don't even have the Super EZA LR Fizz Trunks to use. Who do you use? What Trunks unit do you use? You don't. You just firm it. You just use him without a Trunks unit. Which is why I really wish the entrance animation, because 30% damage reduction is a lot to miss out on. That 70% chance to crit, also, because of how many times you can super attack, is a lot to miss out on. If only they made it Majin Busaka category ally, we'd be winning. One thing I will say is, his links was like an overall thing. Not the best. They're still not great. I know we can get a lot here by putting him next to UI Goku, but actually, to be fair, we could actually do that, but Majin Vegeta is just kind of fine in slot 1. He is just kind of fine there. But it's fine, we'll leave him in slot 2. I mean, considering how well he's done in slot 1, obviously in slot 2 he's going to be absolutely fine. And I guess the saving grace of his entrance animation is you don't actually need the Trunks unit on the rotation, you just need him on the team. But either way, I still think it's incredibly restrictive, and we could have eased up a little bit because of how important it is to get those damage reduction in, and also the crit chance. Yes, the stats for characters whose names include Trunks is nice, but if it was for Majin Vegeta himself, then I would say, yeah, 100%, but that's not the case. But even so, I do really wish it was a lot more lenient, like a lot more lenient. But all in all, if you do have a Trunks unit, if you do have the hybrid trio, if you're willing to use Super EZA LR Fizz Trunks just to give him his entrance animation, he's really good. He's really good. I do want to do one small test though. I do want to try him without having a Trunks on the team to see how he does then. Because then if it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but if it doesn't overly impact him too much, then we're good. 52.9 milli, by the way. Slightly better linked up as well. Can we get all the additionals we want? Maybe. So bearing in mind, at this point, he is missing the 10% damage reduction before attacking. 56.4 are up to. So we do have the 20%, the base 30 from entrance, and then the... So we have a what? About 50% damage reduction and guard, and the extra defense as well. We're just missing out on 10 because we weren't in slot 1. And even then, he still tanks for 116. His EZA is actually just really, really good. Like, he's putting out some good numbers, like very, very good numbers straight out on Super. But then if you have all that crit chance as well and get the orbs, which so far, 2 turns in, hasn't been a struggle at all. Because again, you've got the alternative of 1 or more INT Key Sphere, 3 or more INT Key Spheres, and then 3 or more standard orbs, or 5 or more standard orbs. And he's his own INT orb changer, even with just strength orbs. So far, not a problem. Of course, there are going to be times where you get very poor RNG when it comes to the orb changing, or where it comes to, you know, just orbs being trapped behind other orbs and orb placement just being a bit negative. Aside from that very specific point, even getting him orbs so far in the 2 turns we've had him has been relatively easy. But overall, as I said, he's putting out good numbers. With all that crit chance with his entrance animation, damn! So whether it's slot 1, slot 2, it looks like Majin Vegeta, especially with, at the moment, a Trunks unit on the team, he can do it all. He can do it either. And the best part about it is he works so well with the brand new LR, which obviously isn't a shock with how they link together. The support is also really nice as well, because the new LR and like Super EZA is like LR Majin Vegeta, and the EZA Buu duo are also going to benefit from it. But he's also just doing good damage. Like, really good damage. Especially with all the possibilities of additionals and all the possible crit chance. But we do have his active skill ready, which he needs to take 6 attacks to be able to launch it, which really isn't difficult. He'll perform a guaranteed crit once you use it, greatly raise attack temporarily, cause mega loss damage to all enemies, and then, of course, stuns, but only if and when you can. But he also sacrifices 18% HP, which you can easily make back with picking up same type orbs. That's some pretty solid damage. Solid damage, but still absolutely adore those animations. Still some of my favorite in the game. And you know what? Hopefully Goku dodges so I can actually see Vegeta do an attack, because I know for a full fact we're relying on very little dodge there. I know he won't survive that. So let's take a look. Hopefully Goku dodges. And let's just hopefully see the numbers he's going to put out on his active skill turn. If not, it's not the end of the world. And then we can see how he does. He didn't dodge. That's fine. We can see how he does without a Trunks unit and see how good he really is. Okay, we're back. No Trunks unit on the team. We're using the exact same team as last time. So that means we didn't trigger the entrance animation. We're not facing a Majin Buu Saga category enemy. That means we are permanently missing out on 30% damage reduction. That means the highest we can get his damage reduction to is 20% with guard in slot 2 or slot 3. or 30% in slot 1 with guard and all of the extra stats. That of course means Trunks units aren't being supported, which there isn't any anyway. And there's also no 70% chance to crit. So we do miss out on a lot. So I'm going to do the most obvious test. I'm going to put him in slot 1. I'm going to put him in slot 1 to begin with. So remember, no 30% damage reduction. He just has the 10% before attacking because we got the orbs. The 20% for getting the 1 or more key spheres obtained. And guard. And he did dodge in the beginning, which I respect. I mean, yeah, immediately. Immediately. I mean, we survived, but immediately we are almost dead off of a super attack, which, what was it last time? I don't remember the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure he took just over 200k, like 220 something, 230 something with his entrance animation up. And without it, we've taken an extra 700k in total. So this is post-super already. This is the exact test I wanted to see. How much does he tank now post-super? Still 595. That is absurd. Well, that was a very quick and easy test. And it still stands true that you do need a Trunks unit on the team. At least if we weren't on such low health, without a Trunks, we would have been okay. The only annoying thing is he would have took quite a bit of damage. Slot 1, I mean, again, he survived, but we almost got one shot. Slot 2 or slot 3, he's still somewhat usable because it will be post-super, which is great. But you still take a lot of damage. The difference for having a Trunks on your team for that 30% damage reduction is night and day. So, while it is a little bit more lenient nowadays with the Trunks unit on Majin Buu Saga category enemy, the Majin Buu Saga category enemy part isn't really doing all too much, and I still stand by the fact it should have been ally, because clearly Vegeta somewhat needs that to actually be quite a good tank, which is kind of what he was built for originally, so I don't know why they made it so restrictive. But at least there's more Trunks units than there was in 2022. The only thing is, if you're missing like 2 of them, you don't really have a choice. You have to use them without it. Other than that, at its very best, works really well with the new LR. The support for Trunks units is great, even though there's not really too many units to use it with. Although the support he gives out to Majin Buu Saga categorized is great. Works well with the new LR, as I said. The new LR benefits from it. The Super EZA LR Majin Vegeta benefits from it. And I'm not going to lie, he actually done really well in this video. I don't know if you guys noticed. But I don't want to say he was dead, but maybe he makes a little bit more of a comeback now and a bit more usable than he was before. Not saying he wasn't. The orb changing helps him get his orbs, unless of course you just get int orbs anyway, but the orb changing helps him get that easier, unless you get standard orbs, shall I say. He's doing good numbers as well with multiple super attacks, and when the entrance animation up, that 70% chance to crit, you're looking at like high 40s, 50 to 60 mil attack stats, all which have a 70% chance to crit, which means he's always doing good damage. Great tank with all the damage reduction and guard. Can go in slot 1, go in slot 2. It's just a shame about the Trunks unit, and I think that was really noticeable for like the 2 seconds we had him there. But all in all, if you're using him at his best, on the best possible setup, he's actually really good. He is amazing. 2026 is the year of my boy Jeets. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, have a great day, and peace.